Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dark Ether Files podcast. I'm Special Agent Spooky Clutter, joined by my fellow co-host, Special Agent Danner Bovainer.
Greetings, exalted ones.
And Special Agent Carter Sauce.
Howdy.
So today we're going to be doing a little bit of a impromptu video. We're going to be discussing Predator Killer of Killers. So as of recording this, we actually just sat down and watched it. This is a first-time watch for these two guys, where I have watched it 3 times now. So I'm fairly familiar with the story, a few references, Easter eggs. There's quite a bit to discuss, but to get things started first, I wanted to get first impressions out. I'll give my thoughts last. I really want to get started with you guys to see what you guys thought, and then we'll go from there. So, Danner, if you'd like to start us off.
Sure. I will say this was a breath of fresh air, to be honest. I actually forgot this was actually Dan Trachtenberg, if I'm saying that correctly. But everyone was singing the praises of Prey, and I'm gonna say it straight up. And maybe I'm just because I just saw it and I really like the movie. Prey wishes it could be this good, because I think the direction they went here was a lot more interesting. I mean, while Prey had a good idea there, I wasn't against the whole Native American culture thing at all. It's just it kind of took that same idea, but multiplied it by 3 here, almost literally, because 3 different segments that by the end of it have that connective tissue. But from Vikings to fucking samurai to fucking fighter pilots, and then bringing them all together and then some, I thought that was really cool. And each individual story felt like a complete package, like you were watching. Like, it had a beginning, a middle, and end in each segment, and they fleshed out the main ones, like the important characters. Now, I'm not going to remember every character by name, obviously, because just saw it. But again, this is first impressions here. What we got, damn good, and that the samurai segment, also known as the sword, that is some of the best Predator shit I have seen in quite some time. Like, bar none, my favorite. And also with the 3 different Predators, that was my favorite one too. Like, because the hunter and the samurai, like, perfect combo. And just watching that whole bit play out where he's basically waiting for the last warrior standing. Like, well, I mean, that's what he's doing, what they're all doing. It's like the best of the best is being selected here, because Predators like to go after true warriors that prove that they're true warriors by being good fighters and not autists. That, you knew it was coming. But yeah, and even if you were to give it animation style, I was digging this. Like, I know it may not be everyone's favorite, but if you are going to animate Predator, I think this was a good way to go. It had that anime-like approach, but kind of comic booky at the same time. It was like watching Laika, like a Laika movie in a way, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was a fresh new idea that really worked for me, and even diving more into the Predator culture itself. Like, even with that final line, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but yeah. So far, I really dig this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Quite a bit. It's not great. It's not great, but damn.
Yeah.
How about you, Carter?
Actually, I was a little on the fence about this movie because, with the last movie that came out, I was a little disappointed in Prey a little bit, because there was that whole, like, oh, I'm a girl, like, oh, I could run with the big guys, like, I could prove myself, blah, 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 stuff like that. Like I said, that sort of rubbed me the wrong way. But I do like the little segments though, the shield, the sword, and the bullet. Like those three, it felt like I was watching it was like segments or filler segments in like Pulp Fiction. Like remember in Pulp Fiction when they had like all the characters, but like their separate stories are in like ergo a Pulp Fiction. You know, like from Vikings to feudal Japan to World War II. Just damn. And there are some concepts in there that that Caleb was actually sort of impressed with, or he had like a fan story, like how Caleb actually talked about a predator set in feudal Japan, Ronin, which is a samurai without a master, to take on a predator. That's an interesting concept. It was a good concept, but now we like all three of them, like hunter killers of killers. The concept of like see who's the best prey that could take on a predator. You know, like who's the best that could take them out, and then they get chosen to fight in this gladiator style fight to the death, you know, type of scenario. It's an interesting concept. Like we're getting like references or like nods to other films though, like say like Gladiator per se, like a warrior from another time or another continent or wherever being kidnapped, like taking on their tough soldier only to get kidnapped, enslaved, and forced to fight to the death. It's like Gladiator almost, and with a little bit of Pulp Fiction, and I like that. But the animation style, it's an interesting concept, but it's not like Square Enix style animation where they did, you know, the Final Fantasy movies and stuff or their games. But it's okay though. It just reminded me a lot of the animation done nowadays by DreamWorks. You know, like Puss in Boots and the Last Wish. It's a good animation style. It's a little choppy, but the story's kind of good though. It's a little bit of a breath of fresh air, but there were at least we saw 2 Easter eggs in there. The pistol, the flintlock pistol that was mentioned in Predator 2 and Prey. And the Native American girl in literally frozen in carbonite or in a cryostasis slumber. It's an interesting concept though, that we know the fate of her, because didn't we see what happened to her after the end of the movie, or did it just cut to black? Because I'm not going to go back to watch it.
So it does show what happens. You get the initial ending where she's victorious. She returns to her people with the predator's head, basically asserting her status as a hunter. And then it cuts to black. It goes into the credits. But when you get to the end credits, sort of, or more like a mid-credits scene, I guess you could say, it shows the predator ships showing up, and then it cuts to black, leaving it as sort of a cliffhanger. With Killer of Killers, we now know what happens. We see, we know what happens to her after that. So
yeah, but after all, like these, but like yeah, exactly, like from different periods, like the Vikings, samurai, and World War II fighter pilots. It's interesting.
So overall, what did you think about the movie though? Like you liked it? Like overall, you liked it? Didn't like it?
Overall, it's interesting. I like it. It's like I'm a little on the good side of the fence. It's not a knockout of the park or a grand slam, but it'll do. It's okay. It's tolerable.
Okay. Yeah, so just kind of following in that vein, I like it. Overall, I think that it's a solid entry into the franchise. My favorite story is the Japanese story, The Sword.
Fuck yeah.
the thing about that story is what I find very fascinating is that there's no dialogue. Like you have the
Yeah.
opening dialogue and then you have the ending dialogue, but you didn't need dialogue in
No.
that little piece. All of it was visual storytelling, and being a fan of Japanese culture, it was great to see the architecture, the armor, the weapons, and I mean, the Predator. The first
Yeah.
view we get of the Predator on the rooftop, like that's just you take that frame. That's a great painting. Good wallpaper to hang up in your office. So good.
Oh yeah. It
Um,
just watching that though, it was like watching if one of the bosses in a Ninja Gaiden game was the fucking Predator. Like that's what it felt like. Ninja Gaiden meets the Predator. That.
there we go.
So and yes, agreed 100%. The sword, my favorite by far.
Um, I think that it overall does a good job of expanding the lore of the Predators just a bit. I want to dive more into it a little bit later because I do have some concerns slash worries slash curiosities about it. And I'm not the only one. I'm seeing a few people discussing it and discussions surrounding how this will fit into the next Predator film coming later this November, Predator Badlands, because we don't really know when in time this takes place. We'll get more into it. I want to dive deeper into this technology that we're being introduced to. But overall, solid entry. The score was pretty good. The voice acting. Actually, a little fun fact for you: I found out that the the brother with the beard and the sword, he's actually
Hmm.
voiced by the gentleman who played as the Yakuza in Predators. He did the voice work, so
Wow.
that was a nice returning uh, actor, and of course Michael Bean. Michael Bean is in The Bullet. Great to hear him. And now he's in the exclusive club of actors who have gone up against an Alien, a Predator, and a Terminator. Of course, joining Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton. That's great. That's
Mhm.
nice to see Michael Bean join in the ranks.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about a little bit is, and this is just be a little bit brief because it's not too bad, but you know me, when it comes to identity politics, I kind of just notice things, even if it is very subtle. So it's regarding the Shield, the first segment of this anthology.
Mm.
So the main female lead, Ursa, she kind of gave me girl boss vibes. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I felt it. I saw it. Um, not too much in her own story, but more so towards the end of the film.
Mm.
Like you see her taking a charge, and look, I don't have a problem with a woman taking charge. My problem is it felt like the men weren't taking as much of a charge. Like she was clearly the alpha of the pack, and you know it.
Mm. I know it's hard to separate that nowadays. I mean, it's like Nerdrotic himself said, they girl boss too close to the sun, and now it's kind of hard to separate that, even when it's not really there. But we've seen it happen so many times where even in good situations like this, it's just kind of hard not to. It's still hard to kind of shake it off,
Right.
like because again, we've seen it happen so many fucking times at this point, but. Even with the shield though, I thought it was going to be something completely different in regards to avenge. It's like okay, it went the other way. That
Hmm.
it did pull the rug from under me a bit because I thought it was gonna. Well, you saw what I was doing when we were watching. I was going like this,
Hmm.
implying
Yeah,
on the nose.
you probably thought that she was going to die, and then the son would have to pick up the shield and battle
Yeah,
the Predator. Right.
that is exactly what I thought was going to happen. So it didn't.
Same.
I mean, it was a good subversion of expectations, I'd say.
Yeah,
Um,
done right.
yeah, exactly. the Predator designs. Now, I'm going to go back to the Shield, and then I'll go on to the Bullet, because I think those two are the ones that really stick out the most, and it's not entirely in a good way. Look, when I think of Predators, most of the time I'm thinking about the Jungle Hunter from 87, the City Hunter from 97. Those Predators were very much slim, but they got some beef to them. They're athletic, they're nimble, right? When I think about Predators, that's what I usually think. You know, they're able to traverse the jungle, jump through trees. I mean, they got to be pretty agile.
Yeah.
I don't understand the obsession with making Predators built like tanks. Like, it's something that we started seeing in the first AVP film. I'm pretty sure it was also in the comics to an extent. I haven't read all the Predator comics. That being said, I don't know what is the deal with making these Predators so beefed up. Like, these are supposed to be nimble hunters. That's how they've always been portrayed. So having them be so big, it's kind of like, I'm kind of 50-50 on it, because, okay, we see that they're on that homeworld, which I believe is actually supposed to be the Predator homeworld. Now, the movie doesn't explicitly say it, but I think it's safe to assume that that's what this is supposed to be. Seeing their culture, it was a nice view. Seeing a gladiator arena, that was pretty neat. But anyway, just I wish they would get away from having them so beefed up. Like, maybe I'm kind of alone in that. It's just,
I mean, they're bigger. I mean, even when they're slim, they're bigger than even someone like Arnold.
right.
But for them, there's agility there. They're durable, but there's just enough agility to make them very, well, ninja and hunter like. And even in AVP, it's extra jarring considering those three are young bloods. Why are they beefed up like fucking football players here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their weapons, like, I don't know, the cannon on the shield, I thought it was okay. It's just, maybe it's just because I'm used to the plasma caster. It's something we haven't seen before, right? It's something new.
The sonic cannon.
It's just, it just kind of feels like they're more like a military rather than like nomadic warriors. Like, I don't know, like, especially with the ending, like when you have all the Predator ships going after, you know, the Torres and the Japanese gentleman, right?
Yeah.
It feels like a military thing. Like, oh, we might be seeing a Predator invasion of Earth someday. Like, I never see the Predators like that. Like, they could, hypothetically. It's just, they've never been portrayed as the invading type. Like, we're not going to see War of the Worlds Predator Edition. You know what I mean?
Well, especially with that final line from like the fucking Grand Master there, wherever you want to call him, saying "Let's go hunting." It's I don't know, like if they're gonna go right after him, that's not really hunting. That's more like chasing. I mean,
right.
If you're gonna hunt, like I'd say you could still end on that same note, but maybe plant the seed that they've got some kind of tracker on that ship or something, and then they wait, and then they go hunting. Like I get it. They were just trying to just get to the finish line there because like, okay, we're almost there. We might as well just get there now. So, but again, like you said, it feels more military than hunter.
Right. I mean, overall, it's a cool shot. Like, especially with the planet off in the distance, or the sun, whatever that was. I think it was a planet. I think it was a planet, but it was still a great shot. And that's something that you can say about this film. It has a lot of beautiful shots.
Oh yeah.
So overall, it's decent. It's just, I guess this is what happens when you expand the lore. You start seeing things that you normally wouldn't see. I mean, look, I'm going kind of off of Predator 2. Like, Predator 2 gave us a brief glimpse into their hierarchy, if you will. Obviously, you have Greyback, who tossed Harrigan the pistol. And again, I got to make a complaint, because they brought that pistol back, and yeah, you could say that it could go either way, as either being nostalgia, key jangling, or just an innocent nod. It's just we don't know when this movie takes place, and we know I say that because we don't see that pistol again until 1997. So, does this story take place before 1997 or after? And if it's after, which some people are theorizing, and this sort of ties into the ending, the Raiders of the Lost Ark esque ending, which we will
Yeah.
get into, because that is a point of contention for me, because it opens up the door for lots of possibilities, but it could also open up a door for problems. But let's get on to the bullet, the predator in that film, or in that bit.
Segment.
Yeah, that segment. Thank you. So first and foremost, I found it kind of interesting that they went for a a non-traditional hunting incident, whereas
Mm.
the previous two films were very much grounded on Earth. This one's on Earth too, but this one's in the sky now. The predator is hunting in the sky rather than hunting in the jungle. And this is something that I'm sort of 50-50 about as well, because on the one hand, you know, predators are always hunting on the ground. You know, they're not ace pilots. This isn't Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, they're not dogfighters.
It doesn't mean that they can't be. They very well could. It's just seeing a predator do that is like seeing a Terminator living a normal life. You don't really want to you don't really want to see that in a Terminator film, because it's a Terminator. It's designed for one thing. So seeing it in a different situation with this predator, it's kind of jarring. It's kind of weird. Again, 50-50 on it. I thought that the presentation of it was okay. Although I can't entirely agree with the design, because once again, it looks like a beefed up predator. He's missing the dreadlocks, which I've seen before. There is a game called Predator Concrete Jungle that gave us funny enough, a brute, a big buffed up predator that had his dreadlocks missing, but that wasn't a personal choice. It was because the predator was being tortured. So having the dreads removed was, more so not
like
good.
a military. Maybe it was like a military cut thing, because I mean, like we were saying, very military at this point, and I think that's really being showcased right here. And the bullet is like, I mean, here he is, like being a fighter pilot in the military almost.
Right.
And yes, if we're talking about designs here, this was my least favorite of them. It's just sort of like, it just looks like an alien flying a spaceship. Like with that, like if it was anything else, it wouldn't feel so jarring. But you look at it, it's like that's supposed to be a predator, and I'm not buying it completely. I mean, that's why when it got to there, I'm like, I kind of have a feeling this one's going to be my least favorite. Not that it was horrible by any means. It was still pretty decent, but
yeah.
I mean, we started off pretty good with the shield, reached the highest peak with fucking the sword, and then we just kind of went down a bit, and not a fan of the whole fighter pilot predator thing. I mean, I get they want to take more liberties with what the predators do for hunting, and I'm all for that. It's just execution and certain ideas. It's like, I don't think we need to try that out. I mean, I'd be more for a predator on a fucking pirate ship than a fucking fighter jet or whatever you want to do.
Well,
I know that may sound stupid at face value, but
well, here's the thing. That concept ties in very nicely with, again, a critique on having that flintlock pistol. Because Dark Horse Comics did a short story, and I forget the name, but it basically told the story of where that flintlock pistol came from. It belonged to a pirate named Raphael Adelini. He was a pirate captain. There was a nice story that actually would have been a great segment in this movie. It actually would have fit perfectly, because it was a short story, It wasn't a full length thing. It would have fit nicely in this film. Um, the movie or the comic, the story, it basically ends with the grayback predator, the predator we see at the end of Predator 2 that gives Harrigan the flintlock. That predator gets the pistol from Raphael after they were having a fight, but Raphael Adelini's crew committed a mutiny against him. So while they were dueling, the crew shows up trying to attack both Raphael and the Predator, and it ends with them wiping out pretty much everyone, and then they go back to face each other. Very similar to The Sword, where the two brothers are fighting, but then at the last minute, a survivor shoots Raphael in the back, pretty much screwing up their duel. The Predator kills the mutinous pirate crew member, goes back to Raphael, and Raphael basically just gives him the pistol on his dying breath, and he says, "Take it." And so the Predator takes it, and then in exchange, the Predator gives Raphael his sword, but he dies. So he buries Raphael, gives him the sword, and says, "Take it," repeating the same line. And that's how the story ends. But that gives the explanation for what happened, where that flintlock came from, and why that line at the end of Predator 2 meant so much.
Yeah.
But Prey decided to come along and say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to make Raphael Adelini this wimpy little underdog that ends up dying at the hands of a predator in what I can only describe as one of the most pathetic ways to die at the hands of a extraterrestrial nomadic hunter. It was stupid. I didn't like it. If you watch my review on Prey, I went in depth as to why I hated it so much. So seeing that pistol again is kind of like a...
it's like a bad penny.
It gives me a bitter taste.
I get it. I mean, it didn't anger me as much this time around because, well, given the context of Prey and how you just so eloquently put it, it's like that just felt like a slap in the face. This, it could be just more key jingling nostalgia bait, but at least it's not spitting in the face of it, so to speak.
All right, let's get into the real juicy bits.
Okay.
What the movie does for the lore of the overall franchise. So at the end of this film, we get, like I said earlier, a Raiders of the Lost Ark-esque scene where they take Ursa, the main lead from the S.H.I.E.L.D. segment, and they have her in cryosleep. And it's revealed that there's an entire warehouse basically full of cryopods with different creatures. One of the individuals in this cryopod is Naru, the Native American girl from Prey. So she's going to eventually make a comeback, which I don't necessarily mind. I didn't hate her in Prey. I just hated certain parts of how they portrayed her story, especially when we have a much better female story with the S.H.I.E.L.D. Like much more superior. Because if you recall, one of my critiques on Prey was I wish that they would have made the female lead a seasoned warrior. That she already has her status proven, which is why a predator would choose to come after her. It makes total sense here. It just didn't make too much sense with Prey.
Well, even how they got there with fucking shit. What was her name again? Sorry,
Ursa.
Ursa. Thank you. Even how they got there. I mean, like I was saying before, when it came to fleshing out the characters, we also find what motivated them, and like with her especially, like that was a deep cut right there. Like, oof. Yeah. Like I don't want to say exactly what happened, but like, whoa, that was fucked up shit. But I dug it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all you gotta do is just Like, this is how you avoid the girl boss thing. Just fucking start to where they were before they became this and show us how they got there. If you want to introduce them right away as a seasoned warrior, like you put it, at least backpedal a bit just to, just to give it a little more. Just give it a little more flavor and we'll understand it better.
Set the groundwork.
Yeah. Just lay it down and we're good to go.
Right. So what we see is that the predators, it appears, are collecting the victors of a predator versus human fight. They put them on ice to bring them to what we assume is the predator homeworld so that they can fight in this gladiator arena. Now, we can take this in one of two ways. One, this group of predators are the only ones that do this. And I hope to God that that's what this is. Here's why. If what we're seeing is what I hope it's not, then it's going to cause a bit of problem, quite a few problems for the franchise, I would say. Let's say, for example, Dutch wins, right, in 87.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if the Predators come and pick him up and they put him on ice? Oh, how about in Predator 2? And this is even better.
Worse.
Grayback gives him the gun, says take it, allows him to leave. They don't try and capture him. They're trying to take off from their ship. They don't try and put him in a cryopod. They don't put anything around his neck. He's able to get away. I guess the Predators came back after and said, "No, we're going to take you with us."
That would be really fucking terrible. I mean, again, the flintlock pistol, them rewarding him, that was a token of respect for defeating one of theirs. And hell, even if they did something like that with what's her face in AVP, that'd still be extra stupid. Like, the chief fucking gives her his fucking staff. It's like, here you go.
And then they leave.
Nah, just kidding, you're coming with us.
Yeah. So this is a potential issue because these predators, including the one from Prey, and I'm going to assume that the predator from Prey belongs to this particular sect of predators. The way the cloaking technology works, the
facial design, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that, we're seeing one subspecies in the predator clan or in the predator species. Because we've seen this before. In Predators, we had the jungle hunter species, then we had the super predators, right? So the concept of different subspecies in the predator race is nothing new. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the concept of having the predators take the victors of a honorable fight and dropping them in a gladiator arena and then having their main leader battle the killer of killers who will clearly lose. Because let's be honest here, that predator, the king, he was taking out both Ursa and the ninja with relative ease, all things considered. Now, you just imagine you just take one person out of that fight. They're screwed. How exactly is that a fair fight? It's kind of something that goes against the Predator code as we know it. Because clearly, like in Predator 2, Harrigan makes it to the Predator ship. They could have easily just surrounded him and took him out altogether. But they didn't because it was an honor thing. 1v1, mano a mano. They reward him for defeating one of their own, and then they leave. It's a very simple concept. And it's giving me flashbacks to The Predator, where they changed the reason for hunting. Now, while this isn't nearly as bad, per se, it can get that bad. Because at this point, who knows what else is in that warehouse of cryo-frozen species?
Oh, boy.
Who knows who else is there? I mean, you could go wild with the possibilities. And that's the problem. Because somebody might say, hey, you know what? Let's get Ripley in there.
Oh, no. Worse. Let's get a Spurger kit from the Predator in there.
Oh God.
Not Quinn, the kid, because he's the true warrior in that piece of shit. Just remember that. Those with Asperger syndrome are true warriors, according to that movie. So if they just fucking, hey, here's Naru from Prey. By the way, here's Asperger kid. That's when, yeah, if they did something like that, I'd say, okay, you lost me.
I'm done.
I think we're okay though, because I don't think they're going to be canonizing that movie.
Oh fuck no!
With everything that we've been shown so far, I doubt it. And if Predator Badlands has anything to say, and we have Weyland Yutani in the trailer, like you can see the logo. So I'm going to assume that Badlands takes place in the future, like around the time of Aliens or Alien at the very least. But we'll have to wait and see. It's just I'm cautiously optimistic because this film did a great job with its individual stories. And some people, like the Critical Drinker, I watched his video on it. He actually preferred that the movie ended with not showing the whole gladiator fight scene.
And if that was where the movie ended, I would have been fairly happy with it. Yeah, the Torres story was kinda goofy and the action scenes were so far outside the bounds of reality that it makes the Fast and the Furious franchise look like the pinnacle of gritty realism, but it followed through on its premise to explore different stories throughout human culture and history, and delivered a trilogy of neat little self-contained vignettes that don't outstay their welcome. Unfortunately, it doesn't end there. What we find out is that all 3 survivors were captured, put on ice for years or even centuries, and transported to the Predator homeworld, where they're expected to take part in a death match where the winner has to take on the king of the fucking Predators.
Fuck.
Yeah,
But that I don't agree with at all. I mean, you don't give us these 3 separate segments and then, because they were already building up to this big epilogue here.
right.
You can't plant those seeds and not water them.
I think in his mind, if I remember what he said in the video, that he wanted it to end with a cliffhanger, that they show up at the arena and then you don't actually see the fight.
And that's fair, but
I mean, for me, I was hoping they wouldn't do that, and I'm glad that they didn't. I like the gladiator arena idea. I just hope that they don't take this as a sign that every predator in the species is doing this, because it wouldn't make any sense to say that, oh yeah, Dutch is going to come back because after the 87 incident, yeah, they took him. Or they're going to bring Harrigan back after the 97 incident, after they let him go. Like, everything we're seeing here for the most part, the result of the battle is when they get taken. With the exception of Torres, because I think we can assume that some time has passed because, he's back at his father's garage working on a truck, and then they come find him. Okay, so they were tracking him down for some period of time, and then they take him. It just wouldn't make sense to say that, oh yeah, Harrigan's going to come back because Predator 2, they decided, yeah, we're just going to take you. This is what I mean. It opens up a lot of possibilities, a lot of great ideas that we could see in the future. It also comes with its share of risks. And I'm hoping that we don't go that far, because after The Predator, we were at the lowest of the low. Prey came along. Yeah, it wasn't the best. I have my problems with it. Overall, I'd say that it's a solid entry. It gave us a different time period. It gave us a different situation to put the Predator in, and having the question of, well, how could a human fight against a Predator if they have no modern firearms? Well, clearly it's not that much of a problem depending on who you're fighting, right? Something I do want to mention that I wanted to mention earlier is the method in which 2 of the 3 Predators were killed. And it reminded me of Prey, and not in a good way necessarily. Granted, I think that this movie handled that better than Prey, but it's where the humans are using the Predator's weapons against him. Like, if you remember in Prey, the Predator's absolute incompetence with his own spear gun is ultimately what does him in, right? Whereas in Killer of Killers here, we've seen the shield, the Predator's sonic projectile, having that recoil, he ultimately does him in. Again, not as bad as Prey, because it wasn't the Predator's incompetence necessarily, because it was Ursa that was charging up that sonic weapon, and the Predator wasn't thinking about the anchor lodged at the bottom and the recoil. So on the one hand, it's like, okay, I can forgive that. The bullet, I don't know. Like, again,
that one,
it's just
that one I just felt like was edited a bit choppy, because that's like, what's he doing? I didn't quite piece it all together there. But with the sword, I thought that was brilliant, because again, doing with the whole, just how they mislead you there, almost like they're still looking at her like, but I still got a score to settle with you. But then when the leaf falls and it, stops on the Predator, and then they charge, and just seeing the green blood running down the blade, it's like that was a oh shit yeah moment.
I think it's one of the reasons why I like the sword above the rest of them, because the Predator in that film gets beat relatively fair and square. Yeah, you could say that his own little scorpion chain got used against him, but ultimately it was through the sword that finished him off. It wasn't his own technology that killed him.
No. I mean, it did kind of work against him in a way, what with the leaf falling on him while he has cloaking device, and thus tipping him off.
Right. But overall, I would say that with the bullet, it wasn't too bad. It's just, the Predator can clearly understand that, okay, he's blinded, he's got his own like hook chain that grapples in the plane's engine, and it's coming right at him. You could say, well, why didn't the Predator just jump out of his vehicle? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was handled the best, but it's not entirely terrible. But again, if I'm ranking these stories, the sword is the top. And I love the epilogue, having them in the gladiator arena. I thought that whole segment was pretty cool. What are we thinking about the Predator language, though? Like, for some people, they don't include the Critical Drinker, because he said it himself in his review, that he really doesn't want to see any of the Predator culture explored to the degree that we got. Like, he thought that the expansion in Predator 2 was good. I think for him, he wants to have it kept as like a mystery. Me, I'm thinking to myself, look, the Predators aren't the Xenomorphs, right? We don't need to see the origin of the Xenomorph species like Prometheus tried to do. The Predators are a different thing. I don't think it's entirely a problem or a disadvantage to see a bit more of the Predator culture. Personally, I like the whole inclusion of the Predator language. It's something that was in the comics, specifically the AVP comics, seeing the Predator culture in there, where you're seeing a seasoned hunter oversee the training of a bunch of young bloods. I like that idea. I like the idea of seeing that. And seeing the whole gladiator arena, I thought was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of Mad Max just a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seeing that giant skull, it's like, man, did the Predators hunt that thing? I gotta wonder if they did. I mean,
how many did it take to take it down?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you guys, but were you guys getting a sort of a Geonosis arena?
Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said when I was watching it. I was like, what is this, fucking Geonosis? Yeah, seeing that big animal come out there to fight them. Like, well.
So yeah. But overall, I think this is a solid entry in the Predator franchise. I thought that the animation was okay. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea as far as animation is concerned. Some of the scenes looked a bit kind of jarring. That being said, the actual style itself, the sort of like you were saying earlier, Dan, or the comic book type look to it, I thought it was really cool. Again, praising the sword here, the visual storytelling with the leaves falling, with the sun rising. I mean, it was all just fantastic, just fantastic.
Oh yeah. And I'm also thinking in hindsight, I think dialogue as it went on would have actually made that a whole lot worse. Like, can you imagine if he said, "You did this to me," referring to the scar on his cheek? That would have just been stupid. It's like, again, show don't tell.
Right.
Which is what they did. And God bless him for that.
You know what? Speaking on dialogue, are you glad that we didn't get a if it bleeds, we can kill it type reference?
Oh God! Fuck
Believe
me.
me, I was just sitting there like, don't do any of those goddamn lip service bits, because you know me, I hate those. It's like, we get it. That line is iconic from a great movie. You're part of that franchise. Like, whether you're a synthetic and alien Romulus doing the goddamn "get away from her, you bitch," and some people will go, "Is that the thing?" Well, I'm sitting there going,
This motherfucker.
or just like, even in Prey, if it bleeds, we can kill. It's like, shut up, just shut up.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll take the visual fan service over any lip service at this point. Even if it is still key jingling nostalgia bait, it's not as infuriating. Because again, you're just taking an iconic line that worked before and not really understanding why it was so good to begin with. I mean, look at AVP Requiem and fucking The Predator, where they have characters say, "Get to the chopper." It's like, will you just stop it? Like,
Yeah.
Like, again, one of the reasons why I still praise that moment in the original Predator is not just because it's iconic. It's not just because, oh, that's an iconic zinger from Arnold. No, it's not even close. I said it many times. That is one of the most vulnerable movie moments I've ever seen Arnold in. Because usually he's the unstoppable killing machine force to be reckoned with. Here he is getting knocked down by a plasma caster. Poncho's dead now. And the urgency in his voice.
Yeah.
Like, he's scared at that point. He could die here. So it's like, you get the fuck out of here. Just go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the line myself, obviously, because I can't do it like that. I just can't, and I refuse to, because I just bashed 2 movies for trying and failing miserably. And again, thank God I didn't see or in this case hear any of that in this new movie, Killer of Killers.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, as far as Dan Trachtenberg's record is concerned, because he did Prey, he's done Killer of Killers, he's done Predator Badlands. There are rumors going around that he's already working on another project, another Predator project. Supposedly, it's going to involve Naru, the Native American girl from Prey, which I am kind of curious to see what's going to happen with that, because you know we're just seeing this new concept for the first time. This idea of having predators cryo freeze its sort of hunters that they've captured. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I am kind of curious to see where it's gonna go from here. You know, it does open up a lot of possibilities, but it could also bring a lot of problems. But I'd rather be more optimistic, just because this was handled very well. And I mean, what do you guys think for Badlands? I think we've seen the trailer together at some point, but what are we thinking?
I'm just keeping my fingers crossed at this point. I hope it doesn't suck, but I'm not holding my breath too much. The trailer didn't anger me, but it didn't really impress me either. And that design, again, just not a fan. Not a fan of that design. And I know people think that's a minute thing, but it isn't. Well, what if everything else around is good? Well, you don't put a piece of diamond in a pile of shit and say it's not shit because it's covered in shit. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying the movie's going to be shit. I'm not saying the movie's going to suck. I don't know that yet. But after the lowest of lows we have hit with this franchise and the Predator, there's really nowhere to go but up. And thankfully, we're still kind of climbing up those ranks a bit. Like, I think what people need to understand, though, is like, we're not going to reach that same peak with that original 87 film. Like, that's not even feasible. But
Yeah.
at least just try to make something great that will be a great part of the franchise, but still be able to stand strong on its own without being compared to anything else. Like, that's what I
hope.
That's
Yeah.
not just for Predator. That goes for pretty much any franchise where they try and breathe new life into a franchise that has been around longer than us.
Yeah, hopefully not up shit creek though.
Yeah, so overall, I'm cautiously optimistic, as I already said before. We'll just have to wait and see. But, I mean, if they could do with this art style, I wouldn't be against it. I'm just hoping that, they don't take it as, oh, let's do more animated films rather than live action, because I'd rather see Naru in live action again rather than animated, but that's just me. I mean, we've already seen her in live action, kind of jarring to see her animated, even if it's just brief. But what I really want is to see a Predator movie, a full-blown film set in Japan, feudal Japan, having the idea of a Ronin hunting down a Predator for killing his master. Like having the drama, having a scene or scenes throughout the film where you're having your main character, training with his master, establishing a bond. And then like you can almost do it kind of like those films where it starts with later on in the timeline and then it has flashbacks throughout to show like, okay, so the character is hunting down another character for killing someone they loved, and then it'll cut to those moments where the main character is with that loved one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, having a film like that, like a Predator film set in feudal Japan, I mean, that's like my dream.
Now, if there was some kind of revenge story in all that, you could make that flashback animated like in Kill Bill Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought. Just a thought. I'm not saying they have to do it. It's just the way you put it that way. It's like, you're making me think of Kill Bill now just because of that. And because they did that whole flashback segment in animation, it's like, because both live action and this animation style have clearly worked already, so I'm okay with putting two different ingredients into the same little bowl of mixture here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, overall, I'd say that we have a interesting future ahead of us for the Predator franchise. We're pretty much guaranteed to see an Alien versus Predator film eventually, if Badlands has anything to say about it, right?
Probably.
But as for Killer of Killers, if we want to give like a ranking, maybe like a letter ranking or numerical, how would you guys do it?
Well, I'm not sure if I give it like out of 5, but I usually like to go for the grades here. As for now, B+.
Instead of a B+, I'll give it an A-.
Yeah, I think I'll go with a B+. I think that's a safe area to to put it in. It has its potentials. It has a really great high point. Not as many for the rest, but still pretty good overall.
And yeah, indeed.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us this long. This is quite a long video.
Hey, discussions.
Yeah, it's true. I know we wanted to get into this again for a while after doing -1. Of course, by the time this goes up, we will have either done a segment for the dumpster. And what was it called, Danner?
Dumpster diving. Basically, where we're discussing movies that we have watched in the dumpster, and we're going to dissect and destroy. Or we're going to have another good laugh, because these movies had some interesting impacts on us, for better or worse. Some good, some bad, some really fucking ugly. And when I say good, I mean Hard Ticket to Hawaii. When I say bad, I mean The Predator. When I mean ugly, I mean the Star Wars Holiday Special. Don't hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to dive into that one, because God only knows it only ends one way. I die.
Don, why did I do this to myself?
Well, guys, we might have just broken Danner.
Pretty much. Ugh.
I'm actually scared to look at how much time is left.
I need to know, damn it. Oh.
23 minutes, give or take.
Why?
But yeah, dumpster diving, very, very much kind of like what we're doing here. Just really bad movies. Everything else pretty much remains the same.
All right, then. So, with that all being said, thank you all for watching, listening, and supporting. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, fellow investigators, remember that the entertainment is out there. I'm Special Agent Spooky Clutter.
I'm Special Agent Carter Sauce. Special Agent Dr. Richtofen.
And until next time, fellow investigators, remember
The entertainment.
the entertainment,
The entertainment.
the entertainment,
The entertainment is out there.
Ready to believe you.